Good morning, architect students. Today we will be tackling about the geometric design and its concept. So geometry can both improve and deepen one's artistic abilities. So geometry is everywhere and you as an architect students use geometry in designing. So the lines, shapes, forms, patterns and repetition, balance and proportions are both an art and a mathematics that you students uses in your designs. So today I will be giving you a task. Make a geometric design and explain it to the class. So for example, in this design, I am using the lines and the shapes. So the line is an integral element accompanying architecture and describe the form of a building. So the shape is defined as two-dimensional, that's also defined by a change in value or some other form of contrast.
A few minutes later.
Sir, I'll go first. So this design is a three-dimensional figure. I use forms because, as you can see, it refers to the shape or configuration of a building or things. These shapes has an illusion of three dimensions.
I am using pattern and repetition. Repetition is to create a sense of unity and consistency throughout the design. If there are repetitions of more than one design, the elements working with each other called patterns.
I am using balance that refers how the elements of art relates to each other.
What kind of balance you have used?
I am using the symmetry. It occurs when equal weight are on equal sides of two-position balance around the fulcrum. It could be a mirror image, but you know there are other kinds of balance which are the asymmetry and radial. Asymmetry is when you have two dissimilar sides of a design but you can still sense a balance on it. And the radial, it was arranged around a central point, taking a roughly circular form.
I am using proportion because these visual effects of the relationship between of the various objects and spaces that ties make up a structure to one another and to the whole.
So congratulations class! I won't hold you for too long and I'll give you the time to prepare yourselves for the upcoming internship. God bless and have a nice day.
Whoa! I'm so excited, Sheila. Where did you apply your internship?
I applied in Crimson Butterfly Company. How about you?
Really? I applied there too.
Good morning everyone. I'm sorry for this urgent meeting. These two people here are the two interns who passed the interview and they'll start their work today. The three of you are assigned to guide them.
Why should we?
Noted, boss.
Does they know the perspective in its kind? And the Van Hel theory of thinking?
Don't tell me we will be the one to teach them.
Whatever.
Hello, I am Shella and this is Jan. We are the new intern.
Hello interns, I am Architect Mariel.
Hi, I am Architect Dominic.
I am Architect Chris.
I have questions. Do you know what perspective is?
We didn't.
Really? Perspective is used to represent the ways objects appear smaller as they move farther into distance. There are two kinds of perspective. One of them is the linear perspective. It refers to the fact that we perceive depth when we see two parallel lines that seems to converge in an image.
The other one is the one-point perspective. Is a type of drawing created on a 2D plane that uses one point in a distance from which everything in the drawing is set out.
How about the Van Hel theory?
This theory describes how young people learn geometry. There are 5 levels of this theory.
What are those levels?
The level 0, visualization. They can recognize shapes by their whole appearance but not its exact properties. Example, this square because it looks like a square. Next is level 1. Analysis. Students start to learn and identify parts of figures in a class of shapes just like triangles have 3 sides and angles. Next is level 2, abstraction. Student in this level will start to recognize the relationship between properties of shapes, just like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares.
Level 3, deduction. It is a process of deriving logically. For example, a quadrilateral is a rectangle and that all rectangles have equal diagonal. Level 4, rigor. Rigor doesn't just mean harder or more difficult. Example, there are several common rigor in the classroom tasks are inherently rigorous.
Then what are the properties of the levels?
There are 5 properties. The fixed sequence. The levels are hierarchical and a student cannot skip a level. Next is adjacency. Properties which are intrinsic at the next. Next is distinctions. Each level has its own linguistic symbol and network of relationships. Next is separation. A teacher is reasoning at one level speaks a different language from a student. Last is the attainment. The Van Hills recommended 5 phases for guiding students from one level to another on a given topic, and there are 5 phases of attainment which are information, guided orientation, explanation, free orientation, and integration.
So, how about this? We can use transformation here. Transformation means to change. A geometric transformation would mean to make some changes in any given geometric shape. There are 2 different categories of transformation. There is transformation to change anything, while the non-rigid shape only the size that change and the shape will remain.
We can use rotation this plane. It is when we rotate this image by a certain degree in this one. When we move this image without changing anything, the size, shape, and orientation will remain. It's called translation. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
In this plane, when the size of an image increases or decreases without changing its shapes, it's called dilation. It is also known as resizing. Also, in the other plane, as we flip the image along the mirror line, it's called reflection. This flipped image here is what we call mirror image.
Wow! I did not expect you could impress us like that. You should keep it up.
Hey, don't celebrate too early.
Hey, come on. Don't kill the fan rail.
Oops, sorry. Anyways, let's go there to the psychology of shape.
A few moments later.
This psychology of shapes is a science studying the influence of shapes on people. Psychology of shape suggests that every shape has a meaning attached to it, which influences our mind and reactions differently.
Just like circles that represent immunity, infinity, and protection, right?
That's right, and turns, there are lots of shapes that has a deep meaning, and when we combine the shapes, it creates another meaning. Just like for examples, square and rectangles suggest peacefulness, solidity, and equality, while crosses symbolizes spirituality and healing. When we make something using squares and cross, it has a new meaning, which is peacefulness of healing.
Architects and artists didn't just use shapes. They based it on the psychology of shapes. It has a meaning, and you should know that before making a design.
And here's the exciting part. The geometric patterns. It is one containing objects, shapes, pictures, or other elements that repeat themselves. How to use geometric patterns in design? Well, we have 40 ways to do that.
40 ways?
Really?
Yes! And these are the 40 ways. First, use pattern to create images. Next, play with symmetry. Next, combine patterns with photos. Next, use lighting and shadows creatively. Next, connect shapes in unique ways, then make a collage. Next, use diagonals, then create isometric patterns. Then create patterns with font, and then play with symmetry. Then use patterns with patterns. Then keep it simple and think about different ways to use lines. Then create a theme and use gradients. Next, create characters, then combine several different images. Emulate an effect with shapes. Create a background and create overlapping shapes.
There are lots more like relate patterns to the subject. Use patterns to the letters, use a pattern to alter images, choose colors that work together, use shapes that enhance the experience, create unique effects, create a border, add simple animation, make it subtle, use patterns to segment information, create hand-drawn pattern, use patterns to highlight certain elements, combine several patterns, choose uncommonly used shapes, create a web between shapes, limit complex pattern, make it good in black and white, incorporate real-life elements, accent other material, and lastly, use patterns sparingly.
There's a lot to memorize.